Our next guest governs a state where only one abortion clinic still stands. He's been a pro-life leader and lives out his pro-life convictions too, as the father of 9 kids, including 4 adopted children. Here's a recent interview with Kentucky Governor Matt Bevin. Governor, thank you so much for your time and for being here.
It's great to be with you, it really is. Thank you.
Now, the state you govern, there was only one abortion clinic, but a judge just struck down a law that would have required that clinic have an agreement with an ambulance and a hospital in case of an emergency. Why did your administration think that law was necessary in the first place?
This law has existed in Kentucky for more than 20 years. It wasn't my administration that required this. It has been a law for 20 years, and it was a rather tortured interpretation of the Constitution that led this judge in an effort to accomplish what it was clear he wanted to, which was to allow this abortion clinic to stay open. He negated a law that has stood for a full generation in Kentucky. So he disregarded the law by saying that law, which has been there for 20 years under, largely Democrat rule, and nobody had a problem with it, and it has been applied and has been required of every single abortion facility in our state for decades. Now he said that this is no longer constitutional. That wasn't even the issue that was before him, but it was his justification for why, in fact, he said that it didn't apply. We will appeal it. It will go to the 6th Circuit. And if, in fact, the law matters, and I believe that it does, I believe we will win at the 6th Circuit level.
Well, we will continue to monitor the latest when it comes to the pro-life legislation, but I want to turn now, Governor, to your personal pro-life views and your family's witness. Can you give us some insight into you and your wife's journey into becoming adoptive parents? When did that journey begin?
Sure. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts to any life story, and ours is a large family. We have 9 children. 4 of them are adopted. We initially had 5 children. We decided to adopt 1 child. We did start that process, and indeed, in the course of adopting him, we learned of a sibling group of 3 others. They were siblings with one another. They didn't have a home. They were 10, 7, and 2. So the fact that they were older children, 3 together, it wasn't likely they would find a home. And once you already have 6 children, 6, 9, what's the difference? There's plenty of your viewers who appreciate this. 9 is a warm-up to some of the people that are watching this program. Absolutely. And I'll tell you, once you have more children than hands, I often say it's like the parenting equivalent of terminal velocity. You can fall from 10,000 feet, 1,000, 100. You hit a certain speed, and that's it. Once you have more children than hands, you're already there. You can add another kid, and the only thing that really changes dramatically is what you drive. And so we are blessed by a whole lot of just beautiful children. I mean, of all, races, genders, interests, curiosities, we're very blessed.
That's incredible. Both my husband and my mother are the youngest of 10, so I'm really appreciative of those big families. Were there roadblocks, though, on that journey of adoption that you were not expecting that you guys came across?
It's interesting if you go back farther still in our story. More than 10 years ago, we tried to adopt a young girl out of the foster care system in Kentucky. I had nothing to do with politics. Even now, this is the first political job I've ever had. But 10 years ago, long before I had ever been associated with the job I'm in or any other, I ran into this roadblock in Kentucky as my wife and I tried to adopt a girl who was 11 years old. She'd been in many different foster care homes. There was no one trying to adopt her. She was eligible for adoption. She wanted to be adopted. And after more than a year, thousands of dollars, intrusive fingerprinting and visits and interviewing of us and our children and home studies, and all of which are good to a point, but became just a big slug that we had to grind through. At the end of it, we were told, you know what, you already have 5 children, that's enough. It's better for this child to stay in the foster care system than to be the 6th child in a family because she won't get enough attention. This is what we were told. Wow. And I was just outraged at how wrong this was for this child. This young girl who's now a young woman, somewhere an adult, has aged out, and her life statistically has probably not turned out well. And what a shame that we as a society have failed so many children because of antiquated, outdated, counterproductive rules made to block adoption out of our foster care system.
That's heartbreaking. And Governor, you've worked on legislation just this year seeking to improve the adoption and foster care process in Kentucky. Can you tell us about that bill and what you're still hoping to accomplish?
We are in the middle of transforming the way adoption and foster care works in our state. In America, there are more than 400,000 children, about 437,000 children right now in the foster care system. In Kentucky, 9,500 of them, 2,400 of whom are eligible to be adopted and want to be adopted right now. But in Kentucky, it has historically taken almost 3 years from the time a person is eligible to be adopted and when the paperwork gets completed. And those are opportunity losses of time and emotion in development that you never get back. And so for me, if we can make Kentucky the absolute center of excellence for this and make it a model for others to follow. So we're trying to simplify the process. I wear this little button, a pair of scissors cutting through red tape. And my belief is that if we can just simplify the process, we are also making sure that we take better care of kids in the system now.
What's your message to parents who might be considering adopting?
Just do it. I mean, really, here's the thing. It's never easy. It's not, we were talking even before we went on air. Life is not, it doesn't come with a manual.
Right.
It's sometimes messy, but it's a beautiful thing. And it comes with complications and it comes with joy, the likes of which could never be explained. I mean, to see my children adopted and biologically born to us, all crashing into the same bed at night and all snuggling in and all acting as if they came out as triplets or quadruplets or however many of them happen to be in there. It's just a wonderful thing. And I would say this, there are in the world about 167 million children who are orphaned in some way, shape, or form and need a home. And our responsibility as people of faith, as people who want to be the hands and feet of Christ, who truly want to be to the least of these what we have been instructed to be, it's our responsibility to reach out to the widows and the orphans and to be the solution.
Well, thank you for your witness and for the work, your good pro-life work in Kentucky. Governor Matt Bevin of Kentucky, thank you again for your time.
You're welcome.